Craig Thompson is an Eisner Award-winning graphic novelist best known for his books Goodbye, Chunky Rice, Blankets, Carnet de Voyage, and Habibi. Thompson has received 3 Eisner Awards, 4 Harvey Awards, and 2 Ignatz Awards. In 2007, his cover design for the Menomina album Friend and Foe received a Grammy nomination for Best Recording Package. Space Dumplings is Thompson's debut book for young readers about a plucky heroine on a mission to save her dad. For Violet Marlock, family is the most important thing in the whole galaxy. So when her father goes missing while in a hazardous job, she can't just sit around and do nothing. To get him back, Violet throws caution to the stars and sets out with a group of misfit friends on a quest to find him. But space is vast and dangerous, and she soon discovers that her dad is in big, big trouble. With her father's life on the line, nothing is going to stop Violet from trying to rescue him and keep her family together. Mac Barnett is a New York Times best-selling author of over 18 books for children, including 2 Caldecott honor-winning collaborations with John Klassen, Sam and Dave Dig a Hole, and Extra Yarn, which also won the Boston Globe Horn Book Award and the E.B. White Read Aloud Award. He writes the Brixton Brothers series of mystery novels, and with Jory John, The Terrible Two, the story of a school prankster who meets his match.
All right, thanks, Miles. That was awesome. I'm going to sneak over here, and what I'll do is I'll talk first, if that's cool with Mac, for like 20 minutes or so, and then Mac can talk about his books. He has a lot more books than me. And then we'll save that last third of time to do Q&A. We'll just kind of mash up Q&A for both of us together. So thank you for being here. I'm going to sneak through the shrubbery over to there. All right, cool. This is better, closer in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the great intro, Miles. This is my new book, Space Dumplings, which already had a great little... maybe I don't have to describe it anymore because you did a good job already. But the books I'm best known for are graphic novels for older readers, Blankets and Habibi. Space Dumplings is my first book for younger readers. It's for all ages. So when I was writing it, I was really using like the Pixar movie model of like something for every age group, you know, something for younger readers or middle grade readers, something for the parents, and for all my existing readership too, and for myself. But you know what? Most of all, I was writing it for my like sort of 10-year-old self, kind of dreaming up the book that I would have loved the most at that age. Here's a quick description, or maybe it's a long description, but for you that haven't read it, it takes place in outer space, hence Space Dumplings, in a galaxy in the midst of an energy crisis. Sounds kind of familiar, huh? A world in the middle of an energy crisis? In this world, in this galaxy, all the fuel sources are used up. So the stardust mines, the plutonium, the uranium, all that's left is the excrement. Oh, some people know it. You guys know what that word means? Oh, there we go. The poop of giant planet-eating space whales, which is collected, sort of like the logging industry, and then processed in these huge interstellar sawmills into fuel. And the whole galaxy lives in fear of these space whales because they can eat spaceships, they can eat meteorites, they can devour entire planets. And yet, everyone depends on them for fuel. They're sort of like the Galactus of the outer space marine world. Does that sound familiar too? Like a fuel source that's potentially hazardous to the environment? Sorry, driving now. And there's a big social class divide in this world. That's one of the major themes. So, you know, on the surface, it's all fun, comedy, sci-fi, adventure. But the broader themes are energy crisis and social class divide. All the poor people in this world live in these sort of shantytown favela slums in the asteroid belts. And they're very poor, they're always living in fear of whale attack. The rich live in these elite mobilized space stations. It's sort of like if the Death Star was combined with a Miami Beach or something, with a gumball machine or a pinball machine or a water park. Here's the close-up view all glossy and shiny and high-tech, and it's mobilized, so it can dodge the whales. And everybody else lives in the void between these two worlds. They live on spaceships, they live in these trailer parks, and they do all this sort of dirty manual labor required to keep the space stations functioning. And the star of our book hails from that section of the galaxy, a little girl named Violet. Here's her trailer park and her trailer, and there she is eating dinner with her parents at the dining room nook. She's an only child. Looks like they're eating some delicious little things there. Does that look delicious to you? Does it look good? And her mother is a fashion designer, but she starts out with a very lowly position at a sweatshop garment factory in the asteroids. Later, she gets promoted to a fancy job at a fashion studio on a space station. And her father is a lumberjack. Those are the brave souls that actually harvest the whale timber. Here he is in a Bunyan exoskeleton named after famous lumberjack Paul Bunyan. And he's riding on a space whale log. And the whole drama of the book opens up with Violet's elementary school getting eaten by the space whales. How would you feel if your school got eaten by space whales? Pretty happy. What about you with the balloon? Do you have any feelings about your school getting eaten? No? You would not be fazed, I think. And how about you? Do you have a feeling? Yeah, if your school got eaten. Yeah, pretty weird. Okay, so happy, pretty weird. Violet's, oh yeah, you have a feeling too? Scary. All right, that's good. That's a whole spectrum. And that's sort of the process that Violet goes through too. At first, she's really concerned. Is everyone okay? And her father reassures her, "It's okay, sweetie. It was the weekend, so no one was there. No, none of the teachers, none of the students. Only the school was devoured." So she thinks about it for a second. No school. Woohoo! But then things get more complicated because her father goes missing, like Miles was describing, on a dangerous mission. And her mother and her are left alone in this creepy trailer park in the cold emptiness of outer space. And then her mother gets taken away too. I can't give you away the spoilers, but she's detained on a high-security space station. And so it's sort of like one of my favorite movies as a kid, Goonies. Anybody know that movie? Yeah. Where the parents aren't able to do anything, so their hands are tied, so the kids have to escape and save the day. And so Violet escapes the space station, and she enlists the help of her two best friends to find her father. One of her friends is from the poor side of the galaxy. That's Zacchaeus. He's the last living lumpkin. He's the orphan of his species because the rest of his species was eaten by the space whales. And so he grew up an orphan on this like little garbage dump outside the asteroids. And he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's kind of angry and feisty, got a lot of fight in him. He's actually a bit of a bully, even though he's short and orange and cute. And then her other best friend is from the rich side of the galaxy, Elliot the chicken. Like Zacchaeus, though, he's kind of lonely because he's the only chicken on a space station full of humans. And he kind of keeps to himself. He's very shy and bookish and neurotic. He's compiling a library of his dream journals. He also collects buttons. That's what that little pile of buttons is there. And here he is discussing his dreams. And the two characters are like completely opposite personalities. In a way, Elliot is similar to Violet's mom. He's like very sophisticated and fancy and lives on the station or wants to live on the station. And Zacchaeus is sort of a gruff little roughneck like her father, just wants to get in fights. And Violet is the glue that holds this friendship together. She's also like the adventurer that sends them off on this quest where they encounter all kinds of crazy aliens. They get to commandeer some pretty cool spaceships, make some enemies, make some friends. I love this guy. This is Glumkey. I've always wanted my own feathery hug buddy. Who are these weirdos? And Radcliffe, the junkyard dog, who has two eyeballs with mouths. One of the eyeballs is always happy and friendly, and the other eyeball is always mean and grumpy. And they get to set off on these adventure, encounter all these dangers, but most of all, they're learning how to cooperate. This is my old PowerPoint, I realize, so it has way too many images. And we gotta get to Max. So They encounter all kinds of dangers, but most of all, they're learning how to cooperate as a team in this common goal to save Violet's father. Aww. So how are we doing for time? That's the setup. If we have a little time, I can talk about where this whole idea came from and how I made it. Do we have some time? 5 minutes? All right. All right. 3 minutes. It all started here. Who's that nerdy guy? You have a guess? You think it's me? We don't have the same hair. Yeah, that's me. You're right. Good guess. Yeah, I was 8 years old there in 1983. You can tell by my cool Wicket the Ewok t-shirt. And if you look closely, Wicket the Ewok matching belt. It's a good fashion sense, obviously. Return of the Jedi had just come out in theaters, and I was all bonkers about Star Wars. And you can tell from my drawings, that's all old, withered 1980s computer paper in the background with drawings of spaceships and space bikes. So I'm drawing essentially the same thing in Space Dumplings. Here's more of the drawings I was making when I was like age 10. They're essentially very Star Wars influenced and very detailed. I was really obsessed with detail. And when I was a kid, I loved like the Where's Waldo's books or Sergio Aragonés, like Mad Magazine illustrations, hyper detailed, where you could just get lost in image for hours. And I took a lot of that same energy when I was drawing Space Dumplings. And these are some comic books my brother and I, my little brother, I have a brother who's 3 years younger. We used to draw comics together when we were kids. And one of the amazing things about graphic novels, or comics, as we used to call them, is that anybody can make them. Do you like to draw comics at all? Anybody here draw comics? Oh, cool. Oh, I see some, yeah, lots of hands. Cool. Yeah, all you need is a paper and a pencil, and you're set to go. And so ever since I was little, it's always been, I've loved kind of writing and drawing equally, and it's a forum where I can do both. We would get all this recycled computer paper from our neighbor's dad. So on one side, there's all these spreadsheets, like 1980s computer spreadsheets, probably people's credit card numbers. And on the other side, it was blank, so we would make these very detailed penciled comic books. And then our mother would laminate the covers with contact paper. Does contact paper still exist? Is that a 1980s thing, too? All right. How are we doing for time? All right, let's wrap this up. So the last thing I'm going to say before I turn the mic over to Mac is that these characters in the book, that's the beginning of my stories, is the characters. And I've been drawing them for a long time. Elliot the Chicken, I first drew, what is that? It's almost 20 years ago in a little strip. And he was, you know, very delicate, shy little guy, a little sad, troubled guy. But he's never had a full-length book to call his home, so that's probably why he's so lonely. And then also about 20 years ago, I did a pitch to a comic book company for a book that looked a lot like Space Dumplings. It starred an adventurous little girl. It starred Elliot the Chicken. There he is. He's almost the same as he is now. And then this little blobby critter, an inflatable Clem, who is essentially a balloon. But I've always drawn some variation of a blobby critter with little rubber hose, arms and legs. And Zacchaeus is one of those guys, and I started drawing him about 11 years ago too. So what was happening is that I had these characters that didn't really have a proper home for themselves in a book, and then 5 years ago, my friends had a baby daughter named Violet, and as soon as she was born, like, you know, a one-day-old infant, I knew that she had to be the star of a book. So I took these old characters, Elliot and Zacchaeus, combined them with her, and then we had an adventurous trio. So I'm going to move on to Mac, and then after Mac, we'll both do questions together. So thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. One more round of applause for Craig. Absolutely. Can we get another round of applause for Miles right here, too, for that introduction? Fantastic introduction. And let's get one more round of applause for me. Oh, thank you. Please. No, please, more applause. I need it for my flight home. My name is Mac Barnett. I am an author of a lot of picture books, some novels. I wrote some picture books. I wrote a book called Billy Twitters and His Blue Whale Problem. That's the first book I ever wrote. It's about a kid who gets a blue whale as a pet, but it's a punishment, and it ruins his life. It's based on a true story. I wrote a book called Oh No, or How My Science Project Destroyed the World. That's about a girl who gets a giant robot for the science fair. It goes nuts, destroys the world. It's based on a true story. And then I wrote a book called Chloe and the Lion. That's about an author named Mac Barnett. He's very difficult to work with, yells at everybody, throws temper tantrums, cries all the time. It's based on a true story. But this is a book I wrote with a friend of mine, Jory John. Jory John is not here right now. It's a book about pranking, and he's not here. I pranked him. I told him this was at the University of Miami in Ohio. So Miami University. It's all confusing, you know. He got a little confused. Anyway, he's cold right now, but I'm here. I'm going to tell you about our book, The Terrible Two. Like I said, it's about two pranksters who are involved in a prank war. And as you might know from that story, Jory and I have been in a prank war for 10 years. We've been going back and forth, playing pranks on one another. It's been great. It's been a little bit, I'll tell you, it's been a little bit expensive. And it's started to have a negative effect on our friendship. And so we decided, we were like, you know, we're going to take a break from this prank war, and we are going to write a series of books together, which has turned out to have even more of a negative impact on our friendship. But that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to run you through some of the great pranks we have played on each other through the years. This is a good prank. There was this one time that I put some rats in Jory's bathtub. Yeah, that's Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Those are my 3 rats. You can say hi to them. Say hi, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. They can't hear you. That's just a picture of them. But Jory's afraid of rats, and he screamed a little bit when he saw that. A lot bit when he saw it. And he got revenge on me, though. He got revenge on me. This is a time, I don't think this is as funny at all. He filled my car with pumpkins. Yeah. Jory's uncle owns a pumpkin patch, so. But this prank gave me an idea. You see, I was looking at the orange of the pumpkins, and I was thinking about it, and I have a question for you guys. Who here loves Cheetos? All right, well, that's good, because one day, Jory left his office for the weekend, and over the weekend, I filled his office with Cheetos. There it is. Absolutely. You can applaud for that. You can applaud for that. I wrote a grant for that. A MacArthur grant for that one. So that's not my best prank, though. Honestly, though, my best prank is probably this time that I found a baby picture of Jory and embarrassed him in front of about 50 people while he wasn't there. And there he is, Jory John, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a round of applause. Look at him. Please, if you ever meet him, tell him you saw that picture of him. He still wears that shirt, so that's how you'll know it's him. Anyway, that is why I am well qualified to be here today to tell you how to be a prankster. I'm going to run you through some pranking techniques. Pay attention, kids. How many pranksters do we have in the audience right now? Any pranksters? All right, yeah. How many people would like to be a prankster if they only had the knowledge, the tools, the wherewithal? Absolutely. Well, this is good. Whether you are a novice or a seasoned veteran, this presentation is for you. First step, make your pranking notebook. Now, your pranking notebook, you know, that's where you keep all your schemes and plans. The inside is chaos. It's mayhem. It's confusion. But the outside should be as boring as possible. Why? Why would you want it to be boring? Who can tell me? Yeah. So no one thinks it's interesting, opens it up, learns all of your ideas. That's exactly right. Yeah, so what you want to do is you want to find just an ordinary notebook from your independent notebook supplier, and you just put a boring word on the outside. Now, we did the research, so you don't have to here. We have some words that you can put on the outside of a pranking notebook. These are actual boring words that you can place on a notebook. The first one, of course, is business. That's not boring. You love business. A young business person right here. Absolutely. Future entrepreneur. Actually, this is the founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, in the audience. There it is. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes. Everybody say business together. Let's say business. That was so boring when you guys just did that. I got super bored. You probably liked it, though. You probably liked it. All right, next word here. Next word is chores. Let's all say chores together. Oh, that was even worse. That was who here has a chore? Who here has chores that they have to do? Oh, fantastic. On the count of 3, real fast, just name me one chore that you have. 1, 2, 3. I don't care. I honestly don't care. I wish you would stop telling me about your chores. It's a boring thing to talk about. Please stop telling me about your chores. Now, this next one, this is the most boring word in the English language. We have proof through science that this is the most boring word in the English language. Science definitely is, and science is exciting. We love the STEM thing here. Absolutely. But this word is boring. The word is forms. It's very disappointing because it's very boring. Can everybody say forms? Everybody just close your eyes. Close your eyes. And just say forms. Now take a deep breath in and just let it out. Keep those eyes closed. Imagine a ball of glowing light living somewhere in the middle of your body. Take another breath in. And on the exhale, I just want you to say forms. Forms. Wow. Wow. Oh, man, how did I get down here? I don't know how that happened. That was crazy. I just had a vision. It was crazy. I learned the meaning of life. I had this dream. There was a carton of milk, but it was my mom. I'll tell you about it later. It's time to move on. You've made your pranking notebook. Now you have to hide your pranking notebook. Why wouldn't you just take your pranking notebook around with you wherever you go? Who can tell me that? Because somebody will see it. That's exactly right. Somebody's going to find it. Somebody's going to see it. Once again, they're going to know you're a prankster. So we have done the research so you don't have to. Here are some good places and bad places to hide your pranking notebook. The first place, of course, is under a cat. And it's a good place. As you can see, the cat's torso is shrouding most of the notebook. That's my cat, William, by the way. Everybody say hi, William. William can't hear you. It's just a picture of William. But he lives in California, and when I call him tonight, I will tell him that you said hello. Now here's a bad place. This is a bad place to hide a pranking notebook. It is on your dad's pillow. Not even really a hiding place, technically, you know? It's like, oh, it's out in the open, nobody will notice, but he'll notice. He's going to go to bed. Instead of a soft pillow, there's a hard pranking notebook. Sure, it says forms. That's pretty good, but maybe he's going to be like, oh, should I fill out these forms? Boom. He knows you're a prankster. Disaster. You're grounded for 2 weeks. You don't want that. Now here is a good place. In a hollow log. How many people here have ever seen a hollow log just around Miami? Who's seen a hollow log? A bunch of you. And how many people are lying about that right now? So one of you was. Okay, that's all right. Yeah, I'm watching you. I'm watching you, balloon. All right. Well, but, you know, just keep your eyes out because hollow logs are part of nature. And nature is everywhere. Therefore, hollow logs are everywhere. That's science. That's science. We know. We're scientists. But open your eyes real wide, because here's a bad place. In a hollow log where an otter lives. Otter's going to eat your notebook. That's almost guaranteed. But more important than that, an otter lives there, right? You can't hide your stuff where somebody else lives. That's disrespectful. That's like, what if I parked my car in your living room? That's disrespectful. Well, that is disrespectful to otters when you hide your notebook in an otter log. So I wish you would stop doing that and just stop being so disrespectful to otters. What's your name? Olivia, I heard about you. There's a rumor going around that you are super disrespectful to otters, Olivia, and it needs to stop. A good place, under your bed. Of course, I probably should have started with that. It's a classic, absolutely. But a bad place, and again, this is a bad place. Under your bed where a croc lives. That's my crocodile, William. Everybody say hi, William. He can't hear you. It's just a picture of William. But he lives in California, and when I call him tonight, I will tell him you said hello. Now it's time to invent a secret handshake. This is a very important moment in your pranking career because it means you are no longer pranking alone. You're pranking with a pranking friend, a pranking partner. Maybe you even started a secret pranking society. Well, you need a secret handshake. And let me tell you, you don't want it to be super elaborate, right? Because then people are going to see you doing it. They're going to know you're a prankster. They're going to learn your handshake. You want to keep it simple. So I'm going to teach you the handshake that the characters in our book, The Terrible Two, use. I want everybody to raise 2 fingers in the air, just like this. Now touch your fingertips to somebody else's fingertips, just like that. Boom. Now find somebody else. Do it again. That's great. That's great. Do it one more time. Fantastic. That's it. That's the secret handshake. Like I said, it's very simple. It's very subtle, but that's how you want it, you know? Because if you're in a busy room, you don't want people to notice you doing it. In fact, you can adapt it to make it even more subtle. You can just give a little 2-finger salute, just like that. Or if you want to make it even subtler, you can just rub your temples with 2 fingers, just like that. Oh, you're turning me down here. You're leaving me hanging. Woman in a visor and green. There we go. Now you're doing it. Or if you want to make it the subtlest, you can go like this. It's very mysterious. Nobody will know what you're doing. It's very confusing. It's very confusing. Now, we would love it if you used our secret handshake. And we would love that for a lot of reasons. One reason, you know, it's this thing we put in a book. And now you, real people in Florida, would use our secret handshake. It would be like our book has escaped the page. Like the story has become real. And that would feel beautiful. It would almost feel magical. Another reason we would love it is we invented it. So every time you do it, you owe us $1, and you guys just did it like 3 times each, everybody. So that's like $150 just in this room alone. Boom, let's do this. You guys are all sitting down. I don't know if this is on the camera, but everybody is sitting down when they should be lining up quickly, because we got a time limit, and paying me $150. You guys don't all have to pay me $3. One of you could just pay me $150 for everyone. Olivia, you got everybody? That's cool. Olivia's got everybody. Round of applause for Olivia. Way to step up, Olivia. That was super cool. All right, well, your mom's on it. Okay, good. Bring your mom. We'll talk afterwards. We'll get this taken care of after the presentation. That was super cool, Olivia and Olivia's mom. All right, next up, know the language, the secret language of pranking. These are the secret code words that you will want to know if you're a prankster. We're going to run you through some important ones. First one, yak. Everybody say that. That's right. Who can tell me what a yak is in terms of pranking? Who knows what a yak is? Anybody? Yeah, I'm going to call on me, actually. A yak is someone who brags about pranking. And you don't want to be a yak, because if you're bragging about pranking all the time, then everybody knows you're a prankster. Your mom, your sister, your brother, your uncle, your teacher. Everybody knows that you are pulling pranks. And what about this? If somebody else pulls a prank and you're always talking about how you're a prankster, who's going to get blamed for it? You. Olivia again. Sorry, Olivia. I know, we were friends and now it's just turned again. This is a crazy ride we're on together, Olivia, but don't worry, we're moving on. Next up, rat. Everybody say that, rat. Now, who can tell me what a rat is in terms of pranking? Yeah, you got your hand up. I'm going to call on me again. A rat is someone who squeals on a fellow prankster. Now, that's not right? If you're in a prank war with another prankster, like the characters in our book, The Terrible Two, you don't want to be a rat. You can't win your prank war just by getting another prankster in trouble. That's not right. You've been pulling pranks too. The way to win a prank war is to pull better pranks, more brilliant pranks, more spectacular pranks. If you're a rat, that is just a one-way ticket to a lifetime of guilt. And you don't want to live for decades with guilt pressing down on your shoulders every day. Just trust me, okay? Just trust me. Moving on, last word here, goat. Goat. What is a goat in terms of pranking? For realsies this time, for realsies. I've been joking around, but who can tell me what a goat is in terms of pranking? Yeah, I'm going to call on you in the Mac, Barnett, me. Someone who should be pranked. Now, a lot of people ask me, Mac Barnett, who makes a good goat? And I tell them, despots. And they're usually despot, what is that? What's despots? And I say, oh, tyrants. And they're like, tyrants, what is that? And I'm like, oh, that's a powerful person who abuses their power. Preeners, people that are obsessed with the way they look. Egomaniacs, people who believe they are the center of the universe. And of course, the final category of people who make great goats, people who should be pranked, school principals. And we don't have any school principals here, do we? Great. School principals, do it. Do it, kids. Trust me. It'll be super funny. This is the school principal in our book, The Terrible Two, Principal Barkin, and he's a great goat. He is an egomaniac, a preener, a despot, a tyrant, but the main reason he's a great goat is every time he gets mad, which is often, he turns bright purple, just like that. I mean, not just like that. We actually couldn't afford purple for this presentation. I ran out of money at this point in the PowerPoint. But if you could just imagine that he's purple, if you could put on your imagination hats and you could just fly to the imagination land and pick a purple imagination flower and plant it in your heart and let a garden grow there, a purple garden of flowers, and then that garden could be in the real world. And why are you looking at me so weird? Just imagine purple. Another thing you should know about Principal Barkin is he drives this yellow car. All right, good. And one day somebody parks Principal Barkin's yellow car at the top of a flight of steps, blocking off the entrance to school, which brings us to our next rule of pranking. Do your research. Read the books about pranking, the great books about pranking. This book, Matilda, one of my favorites. This book, The Great Brain. Oh, what a great series. But of course, the best book on pranking, again, the best book on pranking is probably our book on pranking, The Terrible Two. And yeah, you can applaud for that. Go ahead, applaud for that, absolutely. Little shadow puppet, look at this. Actually, you know what? Can I do a shadow puppet for you? I know we're short on time, but I just got to interrupt this presentation. This is a shadow puppet I made up on the plane over here. I just want to show this. This is a world debut of my shadow puppet. I need complete silence for this. This is the world debut of a shadow puppet I call Coughing Dog. Thank you very much. You can applaud for that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, normally at this time, I would read to you from the book, but we don't have a copy of it here. I hope it's at this presentation, or otherwise I just came to Miami just to hang out with you guys, so thanks. If any of you have Netflix, I got to catch up on some shows, so that could make this trip worthwhile. But otherwise, we'll move on. It is time to take, oh my goodness, how'd that get in there? That's me. Is it jury? The oath, the prankster's oath. So could everybody raise their left hands in the air just like this? That's right, your left hand. Most oaths you swear with your right hand, not the prankster's oath, no. The right hand is the hand of law and justice, but the left hand is the prankster's hand. The right hand does not know what the left hand is doing. Now, with your left hand raised, I need you to repeat after me. On my honor, I will do my best to be good at being bad, to disrupt but not destroy, to embarrass the dour and amuse the merry, to devote my mind to japes, capers, shenanigans, and monkey business. I'm sorry, did you just say devote my mind to James Vanderbeek, ma'am? That's super weird. I'm always more of a pacey guy myself, but that's fine. We'll move on. To prove the world looks better turned upside down. For I am a prankster. So be it. You're in. Give yourselves a round of applause. Oh, what a beautiful moment. The founding Miami chapter of the International Order of Disorder. Thank you very much. We will now take questions. So if you have any questions for Craig or me or Miles, we will be happy to answer them. We got 2 mics, right? These people have no questions and in fact are so outraged by what they just saw that they don't even want to know what your questions might be. Yeah. Oh, that was pretty sweet. She pranked me. That's fantastic. Who has a question? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's your question? Why do pranksters do so many pranks? That's a good question. There are a lot of reasons to do a prank. A prank can be, like a little affectionate gesture that you show one of your friends how much you like them by playing a little prank on them. But they can also be a way to kind of expose the truth about somebody in power. That's an exciting way to prank. So that's another reason to prank for justice. But a good prank, should never ruin anything, like a nice pair of pants or somebody's life.
What about those Cheetos, though? They seem like maybe Cheeto dust could have gotten that computer.
There was a lot of Cheeto dust in that computer. There was. That's true. That's true. But Jory owns a lot of those air canisters. You know those things? It was all good. Yeah.
Right. One working?
Was a Cheeto prank expensive? It was super expensive. Yeah, as I said, I got a grant from the MacArthur Foundation for it, but it was a $5,000 grant, and I still had to pay some out of pocket Cheeto expenses for that one. Yeah, absolutely. Am I a yak? That's a good question, or accusation. Sounds a little bit more like an accusation, and this is getting kind of intense. But I consider myself more not a goat. Not a goat. Although I talk about some pranks that I pull, it's in the spirit of education. I consider myself more a servant to the art of the prank. So a goat, that's what you're deciding? Okay, yeah. As soon as somebody says, I consider myself a servant for the art, that's a good sign they're a goat. That's an excellent point.
Did you have a question, Olivia? Oh, I thought I saw your hand up. Okay.
Olivia, how's that money coming, by the way? Are we... Okay, she nodded. We're good. We're in good shape.
But yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, you first. The future of graphic books and electronic media. Well, I think the surprising thing right now is that graphic novels are doing better than ever before. When I was a kid, like in junior high, and you would ask, a junior high class who reads comic books, maybe there was 2 people in the class. One of them was me, and both of them were too embarrassed to raise our hands. But now, when I go to an elementary school or high school, almost everybody raises their hands. And I think it's because we do live in a more visual media. So, kids are growing up on the internet and on iPads. But at least graphic novels are still books, and they're very quiet, intimate medium that the reader, takes in at their own pace, at their own time. They have to do the real work. It's all the movement and storytelling is actually happening in the reader's brain. But yeah, right now it's kind of a magic time because it seems to be the fastest growing arm of publishing, especially with kids, and YA and middle grade. It's very promising right now, way better than when I was a kid. Yeah, Olivia.
Oh, who's winning in the prank war? Me or Jory? That's a great question. And the answer is me, of course. Come on. Come on. Yeah, that makes me a yak and a goat so far. Great.
No? All right.
Uh-oh. Oh, man, that's unbelievable. They're planning something there. Oh, there he is, Jory John, ladies and gentlemen, standing up in the gray sweatshirt. There he is. Absolutely. Round of applause for Jory John, my friend and co-author, Jory John right there. And the book was illustrated by Kevin Cornell, who, now that I can see in the light, is this guy holding the balloon right there. Oh. Round of applause for Kevin Cornell as well. Absolutely. Very exciting. Yeah, we could, but I don't respect drawing much as a profession, I'll tell you honestly, Craig. Any more questions? I have a couple questions for Miles then. Miles, I got a question for you, which is, have you read anything good lately? No, he hasn't. And that is why you came to the Miami Book Festival, right? To come get some good books. Are you gonna grab anything? Anything you want to see here today?
I don't know. I'll just look around, see if I like anything.
That is the spirit of adventuring that the Miami Book Festival is all about. So everybody, thanks so much for coming. Look around, see if anything's exciting. It was a pleasure meeting all of you.
Oh, all the same, ditto. Thank you guys for being here, and hope to see you around at the festival, and it's awesome to be in Miami. We both came from horrible cold places just a day ago. Actually, this morning. We were both in horrible cold places this morning.
We have suitcases full of coats.
Yes.
So we're very happy
to be here. Thank you.
Bye, thanks. Oh, that's right. We are about to be signing our books, we should say, too. So if you want